Shall we start?
Great. Yes, I'm just recording now.
Okay, so hello everyone, and welcome to Wisaarkhu Sport and Discussion on the stigma around mathematics. I'm Ronaldo Benjamin, a lecturer in pure mathematics at Stellenbosch University, and it's my pleasure to introduce and welcome our speaker, Dr. Mesias Alfeus, for today. So Dr. Mesias is a lecturer in financial risk management at Stellenbosch University. We also obtained his honors and master's degrees in financial mathematics. He completed his PhD in quantitative finance at the University of Technology, Sydney, Australia, and joined the Department of Statistics and Actuarial Science at Stellenbosch University in 2020. Now, Mesias hails from a poor village in northern Namibia and is quite involved in tutoring and mentoring activities in his home country, which aim to break some of the beliefs learners from disadvantaged communities have about mathematics. And today, Mesias will talk about his personal encounter with mathematics stereotypes and how he refused to let critics define him. Now, before Mesias start, I would like to ask everyone just to keep your cameras off and your mics muted during the presentation. After the presentation, there will be an opportunity to ask some questions, and you're welcome to either write those questions and comments in the chat, or you can raise your hand, mute your mic when I call your name, and then ask the speaker your question. So over to you, Mesias. We look forward to your presentation.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, Ronaldo, for the kind introduction and as well as for the invitation to speak at this platform and discuss one of the most crucial topic, and it's very close to my heart, of mathematics. Why on earth would someone from a poor village study mathematics? That's probably one of the frequent questions I've been asked, especially at the beginning of my career in mathematics. And in this talk, I just want to unpack some of these questions and how I have been encountered during my my career journey of mathematics. Like Ronaldo's introduction, my name is Mesias, and I'm working in the financial risk management at the Department of Statistics and Actuarial Science. To unpack this, I'm first going to discuss or into my background so that you can understand where I'm coming from, and I'll also share with you why did I really consider studying mathematics? And I can also share with you some of the life challenges that I have to go through. And lastly, I'll conclude by giving you my last 2 cents. I was born and bred in Okadila village, northern Namibia, which is up right here near Angola. And this was my lifestyle in the village growing up. I neither grew up with my mom, neither my dad. I was taken to my great-grandmother to be raised up at 3 months old. I had a pretty difficult childhood. I didn't have the luxury to study mathematics, lack of resources, and I didn't have it all, like all I need, like no one to look up to for mathematics. But as for me, my mathematical career was ignited from playing a game called Owela with my great-grandmother. Owela is a game which is popular in the northern Namibia, which is played. It's a 4-row game. In each row has about 8 holes, at least 8 holes, and each hole has at least two seats. A hole actually represents the cattle kraal or the cattle enclosure, and the seed in the hole represent the cattle. So the idea is for you to steal your opponent cattle by using some logical thinking. So the thinking and each step that you make is very crucial for you to win. So you win when you remove or when you steal all your opponent cattle from the hole. I found rather the logic behind this game to be rather profound, and it made me think that I should pursue mathematics. I was good at, and then I made a decision to pursue mathematics. And it was not easy, especially growing up in the poor village. You encountered a lot of people telling you about discouraging you to pursue mathematics. They will say you will fail high school math. Math is not for the poor. Math career, you won't be a teacher. You wouldn't have a lot of money. With math, you go crazy. No practical application with mathematics. And you'll be lonely. Nobody will like you. I now decided to stand firm and steadfast on my mathematical decision to pursue mathematics. And I wanted to give a counter example that, hey, look, although I won't fail mathematics, I work very hard, use the limited resources that I have. Sometimes I go look after kettles, I go with my notebook for mathematics. I have to do mathematics on the ground to write the formulas because there are no pen, no papers to write the mathematics. I work very hard. Sometimes do mathematics in the dark because there were no lights. I work very hard. I provided a counter example. For instance, one of my senior cousins used to say, there's no way you pass simultaneously equations. I work very hard. I passed high school mathematics and I was the best student in the country for higher level mathematics. And mathematics boiled down to a career of being a teacher. I work very hard, and I'm not only a teacher, but I'm a lecturer at the university. And I'm also a researcher. Less money. My point was rather to have a career in mathematics, but not to chase about money or to be a rich person, but to have mathematics. With mathematics, you go crazy. No, probably not. I'm not crazy. No practical application with mathematics. My current research actually is to develop up new mathematics that can help to understand the phenomena in the financial market, and this is what we're doing. And there's so much practical application that we're using, especially for the reserve banks. When I was in Australia, I used to solve many practical problems, developing up stochastic models for the banks that they can use for policymakers to make decisions. Another one is you'll be lonely. I'm not lonely. I'm married to the most beautiful woman on this earth. But the question remains, why mathematics? I have a passion for mathematics, but like you know, most of the poor learners from the poor backgrounds mostly rely on scholarships and sponsorship. So I didn't have money to study mathematics. Everybody, all the companies in Namibia, they were saying, no, with mathematics, there's nothing you can do. You can give back to us. So I ended up enrolling for electrical engineering at the Polytechnic of Namibia. Later on, I was fortunate to get a scholarship to study mathematics at the University of Namibia. But the question remains, why? Because for me, mathematics in my mind still needed to make something real, something practical to the real world. On its own, mathematics didn't make sense. I needed a hook. I needed something. I needed to dig deeper in mathematics. So journeying toward mathematics, I found something rather profound, something rather fundamental. That mathematics is just not about numbers, but it's about the ideas behind the numbers. It's about the logical construction, logical structures, thoughtful making, creating up new ideas. Mathematics is built on a very rigid, very solid, and well-defined set of rules. Also, the value system with mathematics. If you have mathematics, you have it all. When I went to Australia to do my PhD with mathematical background in finance, mathematics, everything became mathematics. So I was fortunate to be in a group that I can able to help. Like, for instance, PhD student in finance who need functional analysis and so forth. So with mathematics, the value system is very profound. 2007, when I finished high school, I pioneered a project which is to tutor or go back to the poor community and tutor students, giving them different ways of solving problems in mathematics. And this project was called Math Tutorial. The slogan was making math to look sexy and to encourage students to steadfast on their dream for mathematics. And so this was, I pioneered the project in 2007, encouraging going back to high school and also primary school, encouraging learners about the value system in mathematics. And then 2010, I was joined by other 5 guys. One is Vaino Shaumba, who even did his PhD in the mathematics department, Stellenbosch, and also Elia Namjebo. Those are the 2 guys, some of them that I can mention, that joined me in the project of reaching out to the community and encouraging people to go, students to go against the stereotypes about mathematics. And it's our hope that we continue to do this, to reach out at larger community, encouraging people, learners, to pursue their dreams in the mathematics. So this was me in 2009, when I was really on the mission of making math to look sexy. Actually, math is sexy. It doesn't matter where you come from, whether you're coming from a poor background or a richer background, but anyone, if you possess one of these characters, you can pursue a career in mathematics. You must have a sense of honesty and honest evaluation about yourself, have a spirit of dissatisfaction. Even if you have accomplished something, you should have a hunger to learn more. You should be determined. You should set the highest goal and be determined to reach your goal. Any career or anything that you do, one of the key important points is that you must be disciplined. A successful career, of course, requires discipline. And the joy that birth through challenges is far richer. Sometimes the challenges that we go through, they help us to shape us to the best version and help us to grow stronger in everything that we do, in order when you face other problems in life, that you'll be solid enough to be able to sustain the challenges. Some of the problems that you encounter in mathematics are very deep problems, but the challenges that you go through, they help you to be richer I mean, they help you to have the capability of being able to make it in life. So to the teachers and to the community, we should never give up on the learners and encourage them that, so as long as they work very hard, they will make it in life. And to the learners, continue to pursue your dreams despite any of the challenges that you are going through. You should never give up and never give up in your career for mathematics. Mathematics is sexy, mathematics is beautiful, and the value system in mathematics is very profound. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mesias, for your wonderful presentation. And thank you for sharing with us how someone like you, who come from a disadvantaged and unsupported family and grew up under conditions of poverty, overcame the many challenges that life threw at you. I think I read an article once, someone wrote about Wisaarkhu, and just mentioned that hard work and positive attitude are not always enough to guarantee success in life for those coming from communities of violence and poverty. And I thought that was quite true. He said you almost have to be superhuman to kind of rise above your raising. So I just wanted to commend you for the mental strength that you showed on your journey. Everyone, of course, there are some or certain sufferings that none of us can escape, but I think that there are also some unique challenges for certain individuals and certain communities. So just very well done and all the best for you in your career. I think now it's time for questions or comments. So I would like to ask Sean if there are any questions in the chat. Would you mind reading them? And you're also welcome to raise your hand. And if I call your name, you can unmute your mic. And if you'd like to, you can also switch on your camera and ask a question to the speaker. So Sean, over to you.
Okay. I've got nothing in the chats as yet, but I do see that there's a hand up. So I don't mind handing over to that person if he wants to ask a question.
Okay. So Bridget, you can go ahead with your question.
Oh, it's not a question, but a comment on the discussion. It's so shocking how the story relates to mine, but I only matriculated in 2018. But the stigmas are still there, wherein people will be telling you cannot study anything in maths because the only thing that you can do if you study maths, you're gonna be a teacher, and it's just a waste of time. And then you have to also explain to people that if you decide to study mathematics, what are you going to do with your life? They make you feel if you study mathematics, you're this hopeless person who's not gonna even get a job, who's gonna struggle, and you end up settling to be a teacher because there is nothing that you can do with maths. That is the question that I also God, I loved maths, but in grade 12 I wasn't even able to actually apply for anything that is maths related because of the question of I would have to explain to my family, where am I going to work if I study maths? And also even when you are in maybe the lower grades, and then they tell you when you reach maybe your grade 10, 11, you still gonna suffer doing maths, you're not gonna do well and everything. Those are the stigmas that are still there. And it's shocking that even not so long ago, I also experienced the same stigmas, and they've been there, but no one is actually taking action to remove the stigmas.
Great, thank you. I've got that's always good to hear different people's perspectives and comments on how people have approached maths. I do have a couple of questions that have come through Sophie from Leslie Scott. So let me ask them both at the same time. Was it difficult to pursue mathematics without the understanding or support of your friends or family? And then number two, now that you are a mathematician, Have the people in your community changed their mind about the value of maths?
Thank you very much. It is Scott who asked the question. Okay, thank you very much for the question. It was definitely difficult to study mathematics without really having someone to look up to. But the joy that I wanted to, or the hunger that I created, that I wanted to be educated, I wanted to be a mathematician, surpasses every challenges that I was going through. So I have to make it a point. I wanted to make it a counterexample that, hey, look, mathematics is valuable. You can not only end up being a teacher, but you can be more than that. You can be a researcher. You can provide something that's meaningful to the economy of different countries. You can develop a new mathematics that can help to rescue the banking system, for instance. So that's why I went now with that project of tutoring, reaching out to the community, especially to the disadvantaged community around Namibia. And then now people started investing into mathematics. For instance, banks. I write a lot about articles for mathematics to just create an awareness that mathematics is valuable and more practical. Of course, now in the village or in the poor community, people starting to learn that, okay, well, there is something more than just being a teacher, or there's just more to mathematics than just doing the calculations.
Thank you. And then we have another question from Mohammed, who asks, and I think this is a very important question, how do you remove anxiety about mathematics in your students?
Okay. Yeah, thank you very much again for the question. I acknowledge that often it's difficult to remove anxiety in the students about mathematics, or where they headed to in mathematics, to just how do they have a clear view about their mathematics journey. But one thing that you can help the student is giving them successful stories, testimonies to how people have made it in the math career journey, telling them, encouraging that mathematics is not difficult. Mathematics is built on a set of rigid structures. So all they need to do is just work very hard, understand the core definitions, and by that, also coupled with helping them to learn from other successful stories of people who made it from different backgrounds in mathematics, especially from the local community, giving them examples of people from the local community, people that they've known. I think that will ease the anxiety.
Thank you. I see Olubunmi has put her hand up. I'll give preference to her if she's got her hand up. If you'd like to speak or even put your camera on, you can go ahead.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yep, can hear you very well.
Okay, I have two questions for you. Number one, I want to know, when you were in the high school, do you have women in your class, girls in your class in the high school that also like mathematics? And if you did, do you know their status presently, whether they continue to do mathematics or not? That is the first question. How many of them are mathematicians at the higher level now? That is the first question. The second question is, you came from Namibia. Is there anything you are doing to help your community in Namibia to like mathematics? Thank you. Is there any program? Is there anything you are doing for that community? Because I could see that you went to Australia and you were opportune or privileged to go to other places different from your country to learn mathematics. So what are you doing to help your community? I mean Namibia. Thank you.
Thank you, Orumbuni, for the two questions. The first one, yes, we have women or ladies in our high school math class, and I can recall one, Lydia, who went to pursue mathematics, and she did her master's at AIM Ghana, and she's now a mathematician. So it's one of the women that I can give as an example who used to like math in my class, grade 11 and 12, and she's now a mathematician. With regards to giving back to Namibia, yes, I have a lot of projects going on. The math tutorial is still going on. Every now and then we reach out to the community or to high school in a disadvantaged community where we talk about mathematics, writing pamphlets and information guides about mathematics and the value system within mathematics. And also, I'm running a project of building one of the school teachers, teacher's office at a village, a poor village, that teachers are finding it very difficult to operate, especially also they don't have a library, and this is something that we are doing to just give back to the community. Thank you. There is a lot of projects that I'm currently trying to do in order to give back to the community in Namibia.
Thank you for your response.
All right, let's go to a question from Sumi, who asks in the chat, what advice do you have for a student questioning whether they should study maths further or earning money to better their standard of living?
Oh, that's a good question. I like it. Like I said, you need to have a sense of honesty. You need to evaluate yourself whether you really want to pursue mathematics or you want to go for money. I have to make a decision. I was one time even not working, just at home, because I had no job, no opportunity, but I stood firm on mathematics. I would say I will look for opportunities to come to pursue mathematics further. So I would advise a student or a learner to have a sensible, honesty evaluation about what do you really want, rather than focusing too much on the money, on becoming rich or becoming somebody, say, in the society. You should rather focus on your career in mathematics, because the joy that comes afterward is far more richer. Thank you.
Great. Let's go on to someone who's got their hand up. I see Elisepim has the hand up, so let's see if we can hear from Elisepim.
Okay, so my question is here. Okay, I'm a student at the University of Namibia, yeah, and I've been studying mathematics and physics maybe for more than 8 years. Yeah, I've been facing challenge like when it's come to real analysis, and we've been like in dark. When it's come to mathematics now, we have people who are having doctorates, and we have people who are having PhD or whatever, master's degree. But whenever student like they are struggling, especially in one subject, yeah, especially the University of Namibia, students are struggling with real analysis, especially the math majors, and they are also struggling with algebras. And now my question is here now. Is it the difficulty of the student, or is it the lecturer themselves who are delivering? Yeah, because to me, I've been seeing like now, yeah, I've been doing the course like 3 times, yeah, real analysis, and I didn't see like some new formulas like now how our lecturer is trying to help us or like meeting us. Yeah, because some of us we are coming from those poor village. Yeah, we don't know any history about mathematics. We come to university at the same time. The lecturer themselves is the one that they are making us feeling like worthless. Yeah, and then my question is like again, how now the mathematician that, especially Namibian mathematician, that they can make us grow. Most of us we feel useless. Yeah, you can even finish your degree and you can spend like maybe how many years, maybe 3 years without even finishing. Yeah, what are they really? Yeah, okay. Now, what are they really like the math community doing, especially here in Namibia, to help the students to overcome those problems, especially Lila analysis? Yeah, especially the Lila analysis. And what else did I see, which is most a challenge there at UNAM? Pre-calculus. Yeah, it's pre-calculus, calculus, Lila analysis. Now, my question is it a problem for the student who are struggling to come up with those concepts, or is it the lecturer themselves who don't understand what is really going on? Yeah, that's my question.
Thank you, Elifas, for the question. I would acknowledge that sometimes you face these difficult situations, difficult where you just find it difficult to understand the subject. But my advice to you is to work very hard, ask as many questions to your lecturer as possible, engage your lecturers very often, show that you are somebody who really eager to learn, explain your problem and circumstances to your lecturer so that maybe he or she can find a better way of explaining some of these mathematical theories, especially in real analysis, because real analysis is one of the most key component to learn mathematics because it introduces you to many of the structures in mathematics. So, and now, like I said, I would advise you to engage more of your lecturers, show them you are very keen to learn, show them your passion to learn this, and show them that you are really struggling to get the concept right. Continue, I think, engaging with your lecturers.
Okay, good. Let's have a question from the chat from Anita. She asks, can you tell us more about...
Maybe my point was just here. Yeah, since I've been in the industry, maybe I've been a student for 7 years or going to 8 years. Yeah, and I've been repeating the module like for 3 years. Yeah, and maybe the solution to the problem is here. Yeah, I have been seeing lecturers themselves who are gaslighting the student. Yeah, that's the problem we are facing there. Yeah, mathematics to me is not hard. Yeah, what is hard is the lecturer, the way they are handling things. Yeah, because I give them example like, oh guys, can you really what is going on? I've been seeing little narrative notes from university outside Africa. Yeah, I give them people they get like the notes before the class. Yeah, and then I tell my lecturer, but why you guys you can introduce something like this? You give the notes before the lecture. Yeah, that is how little analysis people they are taught it on the other side. But people they are not even following that way. Yeah, they are just gaslighting students. Yeah.
Oh, Joseph, I'm very sorry for the situation you have encountered. and it's pretty a bad position to be. But I will really encourage that if that's how it's being done at University of Namibia, maybe discuss with maybe the head of department or try to find a solution of how you can solve this. Because if you're showing that you're really keen on learning, you showed that you put as much effort as possible, but you think the problem is coming from the side of your lecturers, I think it's something that you need to 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 maybe take it further or something. And I would also advise for you not to lose your confidence in pursuing mathematics, despite that, because the joy that will come after is pretty profound.
Okay, thank you very much. I think you take my point. Yeah, we really need help this side.
Yeah, that's very valid, because maths is also about relationships and the way we interact with people.
Yeah.
That makes a big impact. Thank you. A question from Anita. Can you tell us more about how you worked hard? Did you work with others? Did you have one or more textbooks, one or more helpful teachers?
Oh, wow. A good question, I guess. Yeah. I worked very hard. I didn't have the best teacher, but I was a person who I asked a lot of questions. I always wanted to know far ahead of me. I remember when I was even grade 5, I used to help students in grade 7. I had a deeper hunger for mathematics. I didn't have a lot of resources, like textbook in the village. Only doing mathematics on the ground. There's just nothing to look up to, no one to look up to, no support. But I used the limited resources I had to make sure that I advanced my career in mathematics. Sometimes when I went in grade 12, I wanted to write A-level mathematics. I even had to travel long distance to teacher's house in order for me to get tutorials and then get asked many questions to them. As for me, I felt like what helped me is my eagerness to learn, and also how I approach solving mathematics. Because if I find a mathematics on the ground or maybe on the piece of paper, I try to pick it up and solve it, try to figure out what is the solution to this problem. I work with a few students that I help also I encourage them also to like mathematics. Some of them were at the verge of giving up, but of course, having a discussion with mathematics, they came to get interest in mathematics. And there are a lot of people in Namibia that will give you testimonies of our encounter with mathematics and how we have helped them, especially through our math tutorials project that we have currently running in Namibia. There are a lot of people that really got insight of what mathematics is, and they are now pursuing dreams of becoming mathematicians. And so it's to create awareness among the community, especially in the disadvantaged community, about mathematics, to use the limited resources they have and pursue their dream in mathematics. Thank you.
Oh, great. Let's get to one more question in the chat, and then we'll move over to a couple of people with their hands up. Elizabeth asks, what did you do to understand abstract ideas that you did not find anyone to explain to you or teach to you?
Thank you very much, Elizabeth. That's a good question of how do you understand the abstract ideas, especially that's underlying the core of mathematics. I told you that mathematics is built on a rigid structure or well-defined set of rules. Sometimes it's very difficult, of course, to understand from scratch. But again, by asking senior people like your lecturers, your people that have advanced in their career, you get to understand if you follow the set of rules, you get to understand really, oh, this is how you do it. And then you continue, because if you follow the sets of rules that define a particular phenomena in mathematics, and then follow, especially with proving, for instance, you understand how you want to construct the ideas by first, if you are proving a theorem, you must first convince yourself that it's true, and then you convince your friend, and then you convince now the whole community. That's how you start. So that's how it's built. Mathematics is built on a set of rules. So now what I did is, of course, I asked questions from people, lecturers or teachers, and then I went deeper to try and convince myself that, oh, okay, this is how you do things. And this is a set of instruction or rules that I need to follow. Hard work is the key. And also having perseverance characters, like even if a difficult problem, I will work hard. I will not give up. I will not page to the next page without understanding this. I'll spend the whole night, sleepless night, working on this, getting different resources, trying to see how the problem has been, or what is the definition of the problem. That's my take. That's my approach to the problem. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's go to someone who has her hand up. Let's first get to Rachel.
Good afternoon. My name is Rachel, a recent financial mathematics graduate. I'm just honored to be here, part of this discussion, hearing from Dr. Mesias and the likes. It's actually an honor having, like he said, it's by the times they were pursuing mathematics, it was difficult to have someone to inspire you and to look up to. But for some of us, like for me, having people like them, Dr. Mesias go before us, we had quite great examples, great inspiration to look up to. I mean, we could read his stories in the newspaper, and I can actually confirm that I'm one of the people that have been inspired by his stories. An article I read in the Namibian, I'm not sure which year was it, before I actually started doing financial mathematics, and today I am a graduate inspired by him as well. What I wanted to ask is, as a newly mathematics graduate, because I just graduated in April, what is a balance? How should, because mathematics is a complex subject, and I believe the working industry is just as exhausting as studying it. It's not an exhaustion that bores you, because I mean, it is, you get to learn everything every day, so you don't get bored, although it's challenging. But how do you keep the balance? You know, as an because I just graduated, I'm just studying to find my road in this career, trying to find jobs and all that. But as I am trying to pursue all that, my question is, because it also has to do with mental health. Because I believe complex subjects, courses and studies like mathematics itself, it takes a lot of like it takes a mental toll on you, especially in university. Like you could easily give up and all that, but coming out of university as a new graduate and trying to find a job and all that, how do you keep the balance between you know, the life as a professional, you know, trying to pursue my dreams and all that, as well as living my everyday life? I just want to ask Dr. Mesias and anyone that could be in the room, like, how do you do it? You know, just keeping everything balanced, you know, the married life and all that. Like, what inspires you, or how do you keep going? What is your motivation of keeping the good balance? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rachel. I'm very humbled to hear that I actually encourage you, or my story actually encourage you to pursue a career in financial mathematics. And congratulations for graduating through that program. And I'm sure there's a lot more opportunities ahead of you. I acknowledge that, of course, it's difficult to strike a balance between what's next or working. But one thing that I can advise you is you should actually ask yourself, did I have enough? Like I told you, you should have a sense of dissatisfaction. Aim to dig deeper into your career. You can be at your, maybe if you're working in the financial industry, do you want to continue doing research while working, or you want to advance your career up to a PhD so that you will be rigorous, you have a rigorous training in your field to be able to be better at a place where you can construct new fundamental problems in the financial market, for instance. But what I can advise you is to sit down yourself, ask yourself, is this it? Or should I continue to pursue, find more opportunity to study for a master's and a PhD? Or how is my current work providing you with opportunity? Or how is my current work providing me with opportunity to advance my career in this particular? So those are the questions that I would advise you to ask yourself. But like I told you, you should definitely have a sense of dissatisfaction. You shouldn't just say, okay, well, now I graduated, I got my honors degree, that's it. That you shouldn't do that. You should continue going.
Great. Let's get to hear from Sumi, who has her hand up.
Oh, okay.
Hi. Mine is not necessarily a question, but it's to the speaker who asked earlier, who's a student and has failed a module a few times and is having issues with like the module. Like, I'm final year and I have also had my fair share of failure. And like, I have also been struggling in terms of the way my lecturer lectures, and I feel like I'm not getting lectured. No shade. I really appreciate you. Thank you so much. But also, what I've come to learn is that math was never meant to be easy. If it feels like you're grasping the concepts and you can do it, like, you're probably doing something wrong, because it's always going to challenge you. If you get an assignment at final year level, you're most likely 100% going to have to go and do research about it on your own, and make sure that you understand the concepts, and like go over it a few times. And like, it does take hours to do one question sometimes. And I think that's also where like the passion for mathematics comes in, that even if I'm going to try and do this 500 times. I'm still going to, and even if on the 400th time, I think I'm going to fail, I'm still going to go on and do it. But yes, I also think that it's not easy doing a math module with other modules because it does take time. But if you do feel like your lecturer is being crappy, perhaps speak to them, because maybe my lecturers are different to yours, but mine were open. Like when I told them, I am failing and I'm trying hard. What you are doing is not helping my situation, and I feel like I don't know anymore. And they were actually like, okay, you know what? Let's talk about it. And I feel like when I repeated a module, it was different, and like I was heard. But yeah, good luck. Hang in there. We've got this. Thank you.
Sumi, thank you for anchoring that, for pointing out that sometimes you receive difficult problems, very difficult problems, but what keep you going is that, like I said, when you experience these challenges, they're the one that helps you to grow stronger and grow stronger. And that's why I'm saying the joy that comes after, because once you experience those challenges, you should never give up, because those challenges are the one that shapes you to be better placed, to be able to face even more harder challenges. You should never be discouraged, especially during difficult periods when you fail to understand many concepts, but your goal is to just make sure that you work hard, ask for help, and make sure that you're putting sufficient effort to ease the situation that you are in. Yeah.
Yes, I completely agree with that. And especially like working with other people. I'm not sure what the COVID situation is there, but like with me currently, I find that working with my classmates, just being like, listen, yeah, I'm struggling with this question. How are you faring with it? You know, and we can help each other because we don't know what someone else is struggling with. And maybe they've struggled with what you're struggling with already. Yeah, thank you.
No, I concur with you, Sumi, and I would advise keep going, keep working very hard, never lose your passion for mathematics. There is more to mathematics.
Before we move on to the next question, I also want to add to this particular discussion, because I'm not a lecturer, but I'm a maths high school teacher. And let me put that on there. So, on occasion, I know it's not easy for a student to come to me and say, I battle with how you presented this way, or I didn't understand how you explained this concept. But when that does happen, then it makes me realize only then. Otherwise, I'm carrying on and I'm thinking everything's fine because everybody's quiet. So to get that feedback from a student is valuable for that lecturer, because that communication just opens it up tremendously, because it's not just the students who are battling and have a job to do to grasp it. It's the teacher and the lecturer's job also to help them understand it in the best way possible. So that's a very important discussion to have. Yeah. Okay. Well, we've got John, who's got a question. Let me read it out from the chat. He says, what role does talent play in the studying of mathematics?
What role? Can you just repeat that question, please?
What role does talent play? How important is talent in studying mathematics?
Yes. A good question. A very good question, very important one. You can have a talent with mathematics, but if you don't have discipline, normally your career for mathematics all bend down. So talent, it helps you, because if you have a natural talent, it helps you, but that talent needs to be coupled with discipline. But again, if you are hardworking, like for myself, I don't consider myself having a talent, but rather hardworking. So talent, they play a key role, but it must be coupled with discipline. I've been in class with talented people who just read something within a minute and they understand it, but they fail their mathematics career simply because they don't have discipline. So I would agree that talents play a key role in your career, but it should be coupled with discipline. Mathematics require a lot of discipline. Myself, I'm a hardworking. I work very hard to understand the problem. I don't think I have a talent for mathematics, but I had discipline as a key component in my journey with mathematics. Thank you.
Okay, I don't see any more questions, but there is a hand up from Josiah. So if you want to go ahead.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thanks for your talk, Mesias. Quite very helpful and informative. My name is Josiah. Can you hear me though?
Yep, I can hear you.
Okay, and I'm from Namibia. Mesias, what do you think is the main told lie about mathematics? Is it that mathematics is difficult, or is it that there are no opportunities when you study mathematics? Because you may agree with me that most of the students from the northern part of Namibia, they do quite well in mathematics at high school level. However, when it's time to go to university, they end up going into other fields like geology, geosciences, engineering, and medicine. Myself, I'm a geologist. But then when I was doing mathematics, the core modules like calculus, pre-calculus, I didn't really have an interest because I felt like, look, I didn't really need mathematics. I'm going to be dealing with rocks, so I don't need to put in that much of effort. So what do you, and then the other thing I observed is that most institutions don't really give out bursaries for people who are doing, who are studying, wants to do mathematics. But then bursaries are out there for geosciences, they're out there for different types of engineering. But then it's very hard to come across anything of mathematics, unless maybe, for example, now, this is a Namibian context, there is NAMCO that sponsors students who are going to do education and specializing in mathematics and physical sciences. So what do you think is a possible way in terms of influencing the policymakers so that they can make people be aware, or students be aware of what they can do with mathematics in the future, and also avail funds to encourage them to study? Was that clear?
Yes. Just yes. Thanks for the question. With one of the most common stereotypes, especially with students from the north in Namibia, is they are told that with mathematics you can't get a job, only end up with being a teacher, and you can't get a bursary or a scholarship. So choose a career that you get funding. And most of the learners from the north of Namibia, they tend to take a course just simply because of the sponsorship. I was one of them. I enroll for electrical engineering just simply because I had a scholarship from NANCO. But that was not my dream. That's why I had to just cancel the scholarship within that year that, hey, look, I'm going for my passion. It's not that so most of us tend actually to just follow the sponsors or the funders in our career. And also the stereotype that goes on about mathematics. There's no way you can only be a teacher. There's nothing valuable about mathematics. There's no career after calculus, for instance. There's no application. So that is what inflicted in most of the culture, especially in the northern Namibia. So we went on. I've written a lot of a proposal to the Bank of Namibia, for instance, to sponsor people in mathematics. For so many years, they were really opposing, but now, since 2 years back, they now started to believe the value system in mathematics, and they're now sponsoring students to do mathematics for education, and also those who are doing mathematics major, and also those who are doing financial mathematics. People have now started to realize that, yes, there is a value system in mathematics. And this is how we can contribute to the social economic development of the country if we invest into mathematics, rather than we want to get rid of these stereotypes that no, mathematics has no practical application. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Maybe just a follow-up question, and maybe this should go to Joseph Eliphaz, I think. I'm not so sure, but I think during your days at Junior Mesias, there was a mathematics society. Is that right?
Yeah.
For a student, is it still in existence? And if so, are they still doing school reach out, high school reach out to give information to the students, encourage them to follow their passion, if they're passionate in mathematics? Is it still ongoing?
There is still a society, and then us with the math tutorial, we're still going further with our project of reaching out, informing, tutoring, and informing or mentoring students about the career in mathematics. Personally, I have a lot that I'm mentoring students in Namibia, and then I get invites whenever I go to Namibia to speak to disadvantaged community about mathematics, encouraging them that about furthering their study in mathematics. And I think Joseph, the one at UNAM, I think really you should try to get in contact with us, and if you can, maybe we can encourage you in different ways. Even contact Dr. Vaino Shaunga. He's at UNAM. He's a real analysis lecturer. Not a real analysis, but he's a lecturer in the mathematics department. He will give you more information about project.
Thank you very much for sharing.
I think this would be a good time to end our discussion for today. I would like to thank our speaker, Dr. Mesias Alfeus, or the inspiring Dr. Mesias Alfeus, for your presentation. I'd also like to thank Sophie and Sean for setting up this meeting, and also Sean for your help with the questions. And to each and every one of you who joined us today, thank you so much. And for those who participated in the discussion, please be on the lookout for further discussions on the stigma around mathematics, and enjoy the rest of your weekend. Thank you.
Good. Thank you. Thank you very much, Ronald. Thank you very much, Sean. It's a privilege for me to share my journey with mathematics, and thank you for considering me. I don't feel like I'm yet successful in mathematics, but it's I keep going forward, and with our project, we're still continuing to reach out to the community to encourage them to pursue their dream in mathematics. And like I said to the teachers, to the community, we should not give up to our students, but we should encourage them that if they work very hard, they will make it. And to the student, I think they must really work very hard, despite of the challenges that they experience. There is more to mathematics. There's the joy that you get, the joy that is birthed through the challenges is far richer. I'm thankful to God that I went through all these challenges, but I could at least be able to sustain or to persevere all these challenges that I went through. Thank you very much, and I wish everybody a wonderful afternoon.
Thank you. Okay.
Okay.